Hey, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you are in. I'm very happy to see you on this session. My name is Alex Farseev. I'm from Somin.ai. I'm also teaching in ITMO University in Russia in a computer science department, but also an associate faculty in Singapore University of Social Science Business School. So I've got a quite nice experience and examples I would like to share with you today. And what we're going to talk today is about what is actually under the boot of Google and Facebook advertising. We would like to shed the light on AI-driven advertising because all these systems, all these programmatic buying platforms, they actually all driven by machine learning, by AI, and this technology plays a very crucial role in deciding who will see the ads, what kind of content a social media user, let's say on Facebook, would see, and even what kind of offer they can receive from, let's say, a particular dynamic ad that you're running on Google, Facebook, or whatever other advertising platform. So there's a lot of decisions made, there's a billions of decisions made all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all the time. And of course, understanding a little bit more how this works inside could help you in your daily work, whether it's machine learning, data science work, whether you are a marketer or even you are group head or one of the directors of the agency. I believe these materials could be of a great use for you. So find a comfortable seat and let's spend these 30 minutes together. So I break down my presentation in several parts of it. I call it chapters. And of course, the first chapter will be like more on a background, right? So for us to understand what is AI ads optimization, what is a long tail targeting, and how does these platforms like Google and Facebook actually work under the boot, not beyond the ads managers that we are facing every day or beyond the data that we can get from their platform API that some of us are using. So, of course, uh, there's outlines of this, and I guess the first part of it will be about AI and ad advertising platforms. The second will be maybe a few use cases and ways how actually you can boost your ad efficiency, while long tail targeting is like one of the techniques particularly we are really excited about. And of course, the third one is about scaling the ads via content generation, a very new, cool, powerful technology, GPT-3 by OpenAI, and also generative adversarial networks that can help to save a lot of times for creative teams. So let's go. And we see this screenshot. What is this? Well, Facebook is a platform that really likes to break down very often. So sometimes we see that instead of, just um, showing us the images and pictures that we have posted on Facebook and Instagram, showing us this boring window, and inside there you see that there is some captions actually. So what are these captions? Let's read it. Let's see. Image may contain night, sky, and outdoor. And another one say, okay, and this image may contain flower. And then another one say, okay, and this image may contain uh, tree, sky, outdoor, and nature. Another one is people standing. Another one is one or more people sitting, shoes, and indoor, sky, cloud, and outdoor. Considering that there's millions of hundreds of millions of content uploaded to these platforms every minute, it's hard to imagine that this labeling is done by human, and in fact it is not. All these captions that Facebook shows every time they break down is a result of machine learning, or if you want to go a little bit deeper, it would be image concept learning or object detection technology that sits on a backstage of Facebook and profiles every single content. In fact, if you are a developer, you could open Facebook, go into developer mode, and see what are the captions, the hidden captions of your images. You will see that this kind of labels get assigned to every image on Facebook. So machine learning models recognize the objects inside our content to figure out what is inside there. And this, as a secret, is not just used to annotate the images when we have issues with the Facebook platform, but this also used for advertising world. That's why your Facebook ads manager gets so many categories that you can use for targeting, but this sounds so weird to you, like flower, like a category shoes, like a category outdoor. Sometimes we have even particular names of the movies. Sometimes we have something like a category uh, like X, like a Hummer, right? This kind of categories. Who they, what they are for, what they were created for. The answer is this categories will actually automatically profile from a people's content, and then they contribute in this dynamic long tail Facebook interests beyond those that we usually use for our targeting. And of course, except for image data, and it's also analyze the textual data to figure out the topics that we are talking about. It sees the pages we are visiting, and using its pixel data across the internet, it's even try to categorize and understand what kind of websites we are visiting. And from this information, it can further help you to do a much better job in your advertising. So this is another example. So here you have this person who is basically doing the shooting his picture in front of the in front of the painting, and he put this picture on the avatar, and the avatar also was not showing. So he said, okay, so yeah, Facebook only counted 6 people indoor, so maybe they have lost one of the person. Yeah, and then some other people posting in Twitter funny stuff about this Facebook breakdown, right? So it was actually in 2019, but since then we had quite a number of such cases where we can see these interesting categories and understand and get amazed and get surprised where they're coming from. Of course, there is also facial recognition technology, and this is heavily used. If you're familiar with machine learning, facial recognition technology trains a very different way. It doesn't predict the objects. It's rather have a lot of pairs of same face or different face, and it kind of uses these pairs to train the model in order to let it predict whether these 2 people are the same person or not the same person. That's how facial recognition models work, and these models work inside Facebook. Of course, Facebook also understands which type top categories and page likes we are visiting, right? So they look at the groups we belong to, the pages on Facebook we are visiting, as well as the pages in the internet that they monitor by their pixel that is related, that also we are visiting while surfing the internet, right? So all this information is quite significant and important for Facebook to define these categories that's about us, and it uses machine learning. Even in this Facebook Insights board, you can see that there's also demographic breakdown, there's also location, there's also activities. All these things cannot be done by humans; they, of course, done by machine. And if you look into the request on the left side, so the search was for Burger King, right? Burger King, a fast food restaurant chain, but actual pages that the person likes on average were, you can see, women's clothes show, stop, shoes shop, right? New and media website, community, product service, ice cream shop. Nothing to do with the fast food, right? really nothing to do with fast food. So now we would be asking, okay, how come interest Burger King have people on average talking about very, very different categories, such as uh, yeah, like a ice cream shop, right, or something like a shoe shop. But this is the whole essence. When we are surfing internet, when we like something, when we are customers of McDonald's or Burger King, actually at the same time we are not necessarily uh, obsessed by it. We are not necessarily revealed to Facebook and Google that we are very, very interested in these categories, and therefore Facebook and Google can see that there's many other interests that we like. And this interest, this is hidden personality trait, sometimes called psychographics. They are actually the long tail targeting interests that you can use in your targeting in Facebook ads as well. But I'll be talking a little bit later about this topic. And now I just wanted to give you a little excursus on the Google, right? You cannot forget about Google. Google is another very important platform that has a lot of cool stuff inside. And under the boot of Google, we have, of course, AdWords that incorporate smart bidding technology and that use machine learning powered automated bidding systems, which is very similar to also to Facebook. What basically is happening is it applies machine learning at every single user that either does a search on the internet and its history, or maybe doing a surfing the social network like Facebook or VK or whatever. And then this machine learning model predicts how likely this person is going to, let's say, like your content if you're running engagement ads, or let's say to purchase in your e-commerce store a couple of shoes, let's say your e-commerce sports retailer brand, or install your app. This is why we are setting up objectives in our ads. So it's actually sets which machine learning model Facebook and Google of our worlds will be using to do the smart bidding, to decide which people they want to bid for, and probabilistically choose only those people that are likely to do this final action, right? To achieve our cost per action or whatever we are targeting better. Of course, YouTube doing safe content guarding machine learning models. So basically what they're trying to do is trying to predict whether this content is, let's say, porn or not porn. Let's say this content is offensive, maybe violence, or this is actually content for kids. These are machine learning models that extract the keyframes from the videos on YouTube, and these keyframes are later used to figure out what is inside there. You know, the keyframes, right? And they are kind of supposed to represent the most important information there. So they extract these keyframes, apply machine learning on it, and trying to figure out what is actually happening inside there, and whether this content can be shown on Facebook, YouTube, Google, whatever. Google Photos suggesting you which photos you should share with your friends. So this is an example of recommender systems, right? If you're in machine learning community, you know there's a recommendation systems or recommender systems. And information retrieval community really cares a lot. Particularly Yandex, let's say in Russia, is one of the key players in this space, and then they present this kind of recommender systems in international conferences like SIGIR, or they embedded in the Yandex search engine itself to do this. Of course, Google is doing the same. They use it for search. They use it for content recommendation, like a photo recommendation. And if you walk into like a generative technology, you can see that also Gmail, Google Mail has a smart reply suggesting, which is another very cool technology. What it does basically, it's builds AI machine learning models that can predict what would be the end of the phrase given the phrase beginning. I believe quite often they use recurrent neural networks that process that basically solves the NLP problems. They're trying to figure out what's going to be the end of the sentence and reduce the time a lot. And of course, we also have smart scheduling. We have quick access in Google Drive. We have this Google AI or Facebook AI. These are divisions that purely focus on AI research. They publish international papers and conferences, and maybe after a few years, this data also get applied in the production of the system. So they start to serve the Google itself. We have Internet of Things, Google Nest, outdoor cams, Google Home Assistant. We have Google's speech synthesis, translation, AdWords, a lot of technology, right? This is all AI and machine learning based. So, trying to manage this technology via human quite often result in a lot of frustration. And we can confidently say that just in last year, there was about I think 15 billion USD was completely wasted just on some advertising platforms like Facebook and Google on inefficient ads. And this is not the Google's fault. It's not marketers' fault, and it's not the agency's fault. This is because the ecosystem have not yet translated from where AI systems get managed by AI systems rather than AI systems get managed by humans. If you ask your 1-year-old or 3-year-old kid to manage, I don't know, your car, he probably or she can probably do something with it, but very likely you'll get an accident, right? And this is how it's happening nowadays in the digital marketing world as well. So now, look, let's say we are in our industry of fast food, and we want to figure out what is this long tail targeting you keep talking about, right? What are you talking about, Alex? What is this long tail targeting? So long tail targeting is a technology that helps you to avoid the traditional approach of targeting ads, of discovering the psychographics of the audiences. So a typical example in fast food would be, okay, I have advertiser 1 fighting for the ad, advertisers 2 fighting for the ad, advertisers 3 fighting for the ad, advertisers 3 put highest bid. And we have to do a disclaimer, right? This is very complicated, right? The ecosystem is not as simple as this, because the content should have a similar score, the industry should be the same, time, everything together have to be like matching to do this kind of comparison. But in a nutshell, it's auction. Who pays more? That person receives the impression. And in normal case, this guy will be receiving the impression of this burger because he's paying more for this burger for this audience. But we are thinking, okay, if this way is how all advertisers do nowadays, is there could be some additional way, some way to, avoid the situation, try to do things a more smarter way. So if you all know me as an AI expert, as a person who is very active in the digital advertising space, entrepreneur, right? Somebody who, I don't know, talking about GPT-3 on TV and all these things. And it doesn't mean that there's nothing else very much related to me that I appreciate so much. But at the same time, something that I don't necessarily post everywhere, let everybody know, right? Maybe you know some little secrets of me even during this conference. So I actually really like to play accordion. I spent a lot of time on it, and I did many concerts in very big halls in Russia, in Singapore, where I am now. And this is my interest, my true interest, that is going in parallel with my professional life. If you would be targeting me through this interest on search engines, let's say, or if you would be finding categories that are also related to me, but not directly related to my professional, official public life and activities, you could actually get me much cheaper as compared to you trying to target me through marketing AI topics, which I am seeing ads all the time. I'm definitely reaching ad fatigue for that, right? So now if we have this burger and we have advertiser 1, 2, 3 fighting for this burger, but instead of fighting to the burger directly, advertiser 1 instead fighting for pastry, let's say, right? Like those French croissant, right? But we're not in France, right? So just a disclaimer. Like for pastry. then this person can actually get this ad at a much better cost, save budgets, not lose an audience, actually get more audiences because they have never seen these ads, and do really much better job to show his food ad in a food industry, right? So this is just like in a nutshell how it works. And if you try to break down why it's called long tail targeting, it's about distributions, right? We have these long-tailed distributions when there's a very little things happen a lot of times, and there's a lot of things happen once, twice, or several times, but there's so many of them. So in combination, they actually form a bigger audience as compared to our few, not tail, but I would say head of distribution elements. So we have this burger and a head of dinosaurs, and we have a lot of different other categories that are in the long tail of this distribution, and that's why it's called long tail, right? Some of my fellow customers were asking me, is it long tail because your keywords have more words inside? Answer is no, it's not. No, it's because of distribution, but I'm sure you guys know maths quite well, so you understand where it comes from. So how to find it? Now we know that that's very cool thing to have, but how to find this? And yeah, our gut feeling telling us, if you have fast food industry, you should target burgers. Actually, don't really imply that we have to target a lot of small interests not related to burgers. It's actually counterintuitive. So we need to know how to find these interesting categories. One way is to do it through data discovery. Many platforms, they provide a very good, powerful APIs that can help you to get the data about the ads everybody is running, and also about their statistics. Help you to get the data about the ads you are running historically. Helps you to get the data about the Google search queries. Google is very good in providing all this analytics data from Google Analytics through Google Ads API. And also you can do a bit of scraping if you want to. Of course, you should comply with the law for sure, but that is also what search engines are doing, right? So you can analyze this big data, you can get CRM data, and you can collect all this into big digital universe. This is all information about our data, about our industry that we want to discover these long tail targeting categories. And in the second step, what you can do, you can use computer vision and NLP to process this image data and the text data to discover the topics, who like what kind of colors, what kind of objects, where these objects are located, what are the correlations between dogs and personal loans, something like this. Something that for human is ridiculous, but for big data and for machine learning is something that really makes sense and really guides how the whole world looks like. And then using this information, you can run your ads much more efficiently, given then, of course, you monitor them all the time. So you might need some ad optimization platform as well to work now, not with only one ad set, but with hundreds of them. And luckily, these platforms are available in the market, right? So you can target these ads at a large scale to see a lot of categories, see which one is working better, where bids need to be lower to do a better results, where demographics need to be tweaked. And this is for Facebook, for Google, for TikTok, for VK, from my targets, from Yandex. They're all very similar. Even your programmatic environment can be very similar. It's just the question would be how many interests they allow you to target. Like Google and Facebook, they allow you to target a lot, tens of thousands of interests. And that makes this technology different. You can look at this in a psychographics level and also at the normal level. So if you look on your right side at something that is like your, let's say, your normal demographics aspects, on the left side you can get a lot of this long tail distribution interests where you can get a much better job with it. So this is just a case study. This is one of the international agencies. Disclaimer, I'm not from this agency, right? I have no any interest, but just example, because they publicly released this case in an edX and somewhere else. So there was a Citibank campaigns, and by running this kind of long tail categories, actually they were able to discover that they can generate 2 times more leads. They can increase conversion rate by 53% and decrease cost per lead by 43% through this long tail targeting categories. And there were tens of thousands of them, but the most funny ones, they of course released as well. And one of them was Indian movies, another one was like a novel, the third one was like underwear, some sunglasses, you know, birded man, ornithologist. Like, what ornithologist to do with the personal loans? Tell me. Nothing to do in a human understanding. In AI understanding, it does. It correlated, and it really helps you to generate much more sales. And this is probably this mental shift the industry needs to do to understand that the world is changing, and we need to do a much better job in understanding how platform work and how we set up our AI in ecosystem. So of course, now we know how to target ads. We know how to optimize the ads. But how about content? Content marketing is such important factor nowadays, and everybody talk about it. Content marketing is king, you know. The only problem of content marketing is that you need to have content creators that continuously doing this content for you. And then also humans, they also tend to fall into the same trends, same ad copies eventually over time. And then they get boring, and then they get exhausted. And this is a problem of humans. Humans can be creative for a while. After that, they will not be, they'll get tired, they need to go sleep. Machines don't need to. So what to do with the content creative side? I'll just give you a few examples, right? So please meet Maya. Maya has been introduced by Puma Asia Pacific in 7 markets. And Maya is the world's first influencer that has been generated by AI. Her appearance is generated just the way about 7,000 influencers look in 7 Asia Pacific markets. The agency who was building this, I believe it was IPG Media Brands agency, like Ensemble. They didn't know how to find influencers for 7 markets at the same time, so they built their own. And they use neural networks to generate your face to look exactly the same as most engaging influencers across the market. And the AI has meshed up all of them through the generative networks. It created Maya to look like a granddaughter of 7,000 people. And they created a big influencer campaign around Maya. So those influencers, micro-influencers, real people already started to post about her. They also were found by AI. Their profiles were analyzed by influencer marketing analytics engine. Their personality was analyzed much directly to the brand personality. And then this whole campaign of hundreds of micro-influencers and one big first world's AI-generated influencer, Maya, with driving this campaign. You can go to her Instagram. She's still there. If you go to Singapore, Malaysia, whatever, I think Thailand, Indonesia, you enter Puma store, you'll see a very big picture of Maya just in the entrance. She's really the virtual icon for this brand. And then you can track it, and then you can analyze performance, and then you can reiterate. Nowadays, Maya can be even content that she speaks can be automatically generated by AI through the GPT-3 technology, which I'll touch a little bit later. So this how her Instagram looks like. You can see that in the left side, there's a real people with her, like in the picture in the middle. But in the right side is actually Maya herself. So it's the real people meet not real people in one environment, and then they behave like they live in real normal life, and they post stuff also automatically through the GPT-3 model on Instagram, comment with the news, completely generated, human not involved. Since this is really the future, and there are a couple of companies even in Russia doing kind of first steps toward getting this kind of projects. So this is how the demo and the announcement of the Maya looked like. They put this real people into digital world and vice versa, and then mashed up this together, and it was like full explosion in Southeast Asia. The biggest journals wrote about this. So it's like a mix of digital into virtual and virtual back to physical and physical back to virtual. I think it's something very cool concept. And of course, another one that we get really famous is our GPT-3 technology that was used in ITMO University and some other academic and companies, where GPT-3 can generate new content, saving tons of time for creative teams, for copywriters, and actually without reducing the quality. So you can see all these interviews in the slides later, but I think generative content is really a future of the industry, because nowadays you can actually learn what works the best from your large scale ads that you're running, and then generate similar content automatically in very large scale, run your DCO ads and make it work very efficient and effective for your company, for your advertising, wherever department you're working, the data department, marketing department, performance department, wherever you're doing. I think this is very cool. So if you look at this example, for example, you can see that this two content is written by a human. You can see that it starts from some summary sentence, giving street smart a whole new meaning, go big then drive home. Like it's like a little bit like of some inspirational phrase, and then it's written, find the 2020 Audi A4 at your local Little Rock dealer. Find 2020 Q7 at your Little Rock dealer, right? So this is something that a human would write, right? And it's human actually written, right, for Audi USA. But then GPT-3 technology can generate a very similar content automatically from 3 to 12 in GPT-3. Another 1,000 copies is GPT-3, and you can see actually that it's very hard to distinguish whether this is really done by AI or done by human. So there's only one mistake that the technology did. In the third sentence, it offered to buy Audi in the Lincoln dealer, which is a nonsense, right? How would you buy Audi in Lincoln dealer? But this is a creativity of the model has started making up the names of the dealers and put different voices. Otherwise, it's very hard to distinguish how does it work. And if you use GPT-3 technology, you can actually get a much better idea and much better use cases. So by inputting this kind of phrases inside, right? That's like for the Audi, you can say go big red home, Audi A4 is a Q7, and a Little Rock dealer. The technology can generate at scale for you a lot of copies. It can push it directly into your Facebook Ads Manager and can really make it work very well for you. So I think and I hope this session has inspired you a lot. AI can do a lot of very cool things. AI can help you to generate content, to save your time and make you more creative. It can assist you with ideation, can help you to do chatbots, to chat with your customers. It helps you to target ads and facilitate the systems like Facebook and Google. It helps you to optimize these ads. It helps Facebook and Google itself to give us our daily daily AI applications that we're using, from smart home all the way to our mobile phones and email completion. So as I always say, it's not a matter, a question whether AI become part of our life, but it's rather the question when we are able to understand it and use it on our side to improve our daily jobs and also to make our life much more easy, comfortable, and productive. I'm very happy to answer your questions, and you can also download a free ebook that dives deep a little bit more on this topic. Other than that, I'm looking forward to your questions, and thank you very much for tonight.